Welcome to the open house here at Anshu's Health and Wellness, and especially tonight to those people who are joining us for the Culinary Comforts class. This is a class that we decided to develop in conjunction with the Wellness Centre to address the needs of some of our cancer patients. And I believe, oh no, it's still there. And the challenges that cancer patients face with nutrition. And they're many faceted. It can range from taste changes to food not tasting the way you want it to taste. It can be that you're losing weight and you're really struggling to maintain your weight. It might be that you're trying to lose some weight so that you can have surgery or have some other procedure. So I am a dietitian from the Anshu's Cancer Pavilion here on campus. I'm a certified specialist in oncology, and I'm delighted to see some of my patients here tonight, and also to speak to other people who have been in treatment in the past or who may be considering restarting treatment for some different changes that are happening in their disease at the moment. So tonight we're going to cook a peanut satay sauce. So because it is an open house tonight, we have a healthy version of the recipe in front of you, and that will be the sample, I believe, that some of you will be getting. But as I was walking around, I realized that quite a few of you here actually are affected by cancer. So what I'd like to do is I have two versions of the recipe tonight, because for oncology patients, it's particularly important to focus on healthy fats. Healthy fats can reduce inflammation in the body. Yes, they're still fats, but fats have a lot of health benefits, and actually there's a new study out just yesterday saying that fats have lots of health benefits that we really want to talk about. So tonight we're going to be using chicken, which is a monounsaturated fat. This is a chicken breast, it's not a chicken thigh. So we're grilling those. We also have the choice of some vegetables for those who might prefer that. So the satay sauce, if you are a patient of mine or have an experience with cancer, if you want to raise your hands, and we'll get you some different recipes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Susan, could we get like 7? Thanks. So this recipe that we have in front is the one I'm going to demonstrate for you tonight. And the difference is that the other recipe that we have is higher in healthy fats, in unsaturated fats, and it's also very high in flavor, because as I said before, taste changes are often a really big issue for cancer patients, and it's important that food has robust flavor. So you'll see in the ingredient list that we've got there that it's got ginger, it's got garlic, it's got lime juice, it's got some fish sauce, and they're all really great things. Hi, Karen. To really boost the palate and really enhance your enjoyment of food. So I have the ingredients here, and I don't know how familiar are any of you with a product called PB2. It's a powdered peanut butter. So it's a reduced fat product. So I have that for the recipe tonight, and you just mix it with water. Can everyone hear me? Good, okay. So I'm going to do that first so that I don't have to do it again. And it's just 6 tablespoons of water that we're adding into the peanut butter. And this is, I believe, 90% less fat than regular peanut butter.
Did you say
90? I think it's 90. So for those of you who are wanting a healthy, lower calorie recipe, this is a good choice for you to do. For those of you who would benefit from those healthy fats, regular peanut butter is perfectly fine for this recipe. So I have this wonderful team of people who help me chop everything so it makes it look really effortless. And I had very little to do with this. So I'm just going to heat up the saucepan. And we're using, we have a spray to reduce the fats in this recipe. The other recipe, we do use just a tablespoon of canola oil just to coat the bottom of the pan, and it's just to saute the ginger and the garlic and the shallots. And I know you guys say shallots, so I'll try really hard to do that. So I'm just waiting for the pan to heat up. This is really nice also with shrimp. If you can eat shrimp, it's delicious. It's really nice, cold or warm. It's really nice with noodles. We actually had a version of this recently for an evening meal, and we just did some light vegetables on the side, a small bundle of rice noodles, and then we just had some shrimp, and we poured the sauce over the three. So it's nice and light. It travels really well. You can take it for lunches. It's also great as a veggie dip. So you might see some of these recipes as a dip. I use it more as a sauce and make it more runny. So I'm just heating the pan. So I believe it's the shallots.
Oh, we like shallots.
Oh, come on. Shallots. It's the garlic. So this is going to smell really good. I should be using some gloves. And some ginger. So lots of antioxidants in this. The allium family from the shallots, really high in antioxidants. Ginger is a great antiemetic, so someone who is feeling a little bit nauseated, often I will recommend ginger to people, whether it be something that you're using as a chew or whether you're making a tincture like a cup of tea with the ginger where you just grate it into a cup, pour the boiling water onto it and then drain it off and drink that. Ginger ale, I mean, I'm sure you've all heard that ginger ale is great when you've got a little bit of an upset tummy. So it sort of adds a little bit of zing to this. And the garlic, of course, is also of the allium family, so another one that's got plenty of antioxidants in it. And lots of flavour. I'm sorry, I have to add more oil to this pan. So I don't want to really brown it. I just want to lightly saute it so that it just loses a little bit of its whiteness, becomes a little bit more translucent. Okay. And while this is happening, in a perfect world, the chicken is already on the grill. But as I said, I had wonderful assistants. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. So I had a lot of wonderful assistants who helped with the chicken. So they grilled the chicken ahead of time. But at home you'd be grilling the chicken now. So what I'm going to add to this is the broth. We just got a low sodium chicken broth. If you wanted to, you could probably even add water if you didn't want to use the broth. I'm just turning this gas down. Got it. Okay, so the broth has been added, and then we have the peanut butter that we mixed before, the PB2. Thank you. So I believe this was 3/4 of a cup of PB2 with 6 tablespoons of water. So we're just going to stir all of that in. And then we also have, so this is kind of, it's thick, but once you start stirring all the liquids in, it really becomes very runny. But as it starts to cool down, it starts to thicken again. So watch the texture change as you cook it. And we also have some lime juice. And we have fish sauce and soy sauce. And a little bit of brown sugar. Whenever you're using fish sauce, chase it with a little bit of brown sugar or palm sugar. It just takes the edge off it. It's got, I mean, if you smell it, it's a little bit offensive or fishy, but it just gives a really nice tartness to the recipe. It also brings a little bit of salt, and if you're using low sodium products, it actually brings a little bit of salt to the recipe, which is nice.
Is there any substitute, or can you just exclude?
You can exclude the fish sauce if you want to. The fish sauce, ginger and, fish sauce, lime and brown sugar, just the trifecta goes together, but if you don't want to put it in, it's fine. I would actually increase the soy sauce if you were going to do that, just substitute that. So I believe that we have everything except the coconut extract. So as I said before, the recipe for those who, here it is, are either being treated for cancer or are interested in a cancer-friendly recipe, we use just plain coconut milk. If you want to, you can use low-fat coconut milk. But again, it adds a richness to the recipe and a really full-bodied flavour. So we've added this one, we've added the coconut extract to this to give the flavour of the coconut to this recipe. And then I believe we're just going to whisk it. And can you see that? Can you see the texture there? It's a good thickness. It's not too runny. So I'm going to actually turn that off. And then we have some Greek yogurt here that I'm going to just mix into it, and then we're going to serve it on the vegetables and the chicken. So the other thing, if you make this at home and you're finding it's too runny, like you've added too much broth to it or too much lime juice or whatever, add some breadcrumbs. So just a teaspoon of breadcrumbs will actually thicken the sauce quite well. And if you need to thin it down, I would, as I said before, just add some water to it to thin it down. So can you see that that's starting to thicken a little bit since I turned it off? So it's sort of becoming more of a peanut butter consistency. So we have the Greek yogurt here, and I'm just going to put that in. And stir it through. So Greek yogurt is also, I'm sorry, I didn't move. Greek yogurt is very high in protein. So for people who are either in treatment for cancer or have had cancer previously, we know that the disease itself breaks down proteins very quickly. It's unfortunately just part of the disease process. So it's important that we stay on top of that, which can be very challenging, as people can attest to. So having Greek yogurt, which is really high in protein, is a good substitute for the lower protein yogurt sauces. I use, the last cooking class we did for the Culinary Comforts, we did a salmon with a citrus butter sauce. That particular dish, I actually serve at home with a yogurt dressing. So we do it with like a tzatziki yogurt sauce with cucumber or dill stirred through it. That's actually really nice with salmon as well. So yogurt has many applications, not just in recipe substitution, but to use by itself with other things. So you can see that it's sort of melted into this, sauce really nicely. And so we are going to pass some samples around. So we actually have two versions of the sauce. So I have this lovely healthy version here, and I know the PB2 is being passed around. So, and we also cooked a cancer-friendly recipe version, which has peanut butter in it, has coconut milk in it. And so if you would like to try some of that, we're going to have both choices. So you can do this one if you prefer, or the other one, or do both. And then you can see what the difference would be. So we're going to be passing those around. Anyone have any questions? Yes? This is the healthy version. Okay. Yes. So you can taste it, and it's not that the other one is unhealthy. As I said before, it's healthy fats. And it's like the Heart Association labels an avocado as a heart-healthy food. And that's because they're healthy fats, and we know that they're good for you.
I've noticed the sodium content on the healthy one is higher than on the other one.
So the sodium content is actually tightly regulated by the Wellness Center. I didn't actually develop that recipe. So as I said before, you can substitute in water if you wanted to do that. So I believe the healthy recipe had to meet their criteria for sodium. So I can't speak to that recipe, I'm very sorry. Well, I'm glad you noticed that though.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I know they were looking at that, and that was something that they were a little bit concerned of, that it's a little bit higher than we usually like to see. And so I think using a little bit less of the chicken broth might be a pretty decent idea there. Also, it is really important, especially if you don't like the fish sauce, that is going to have a lot of sodium in it, or to really use the light soy sauce, because that makes a big difference. But it is a little bit high.
So the light, could you hear what was just said? Okay, so what we were talking about was that you can substitute, instead of using the chicken broth, you could reduce some of that chicken broth usage. If you didn't want to use the fish sauce, which is you could use, that recipe has the light soy sauce. And the light soy sauce actually has some salt in it, but it's not as much as the normal. So remember that salt is a flavor enhancer as well. But this recipe has various forms of sodium going into it. So it looks like there are some samples going around. So please help yourself to those. Anyone have any questions? I'm just going to hold this because it's very fickle. So a lot of patients say that fresh fruits and vegetables really taste great when they've got taste changes. And the reason why that is because it's a really untainted taste. If you think about like you're eating a piece of pepper, you really know it's a piece of pepper. Or if you're having a strawberry, it's really got an intensity of flavor that you can't get when you're mixing a whole bunch of things together. So it's something to think about for those small snacks during the day, is just having, a selection of fruits and vegetables and having a protein source with it, whether it be a peanut butter sauce or a yogurt or something like that, can really enhance the quality of that snack. How does it taste? Is it good? Good. So another thing you can do with this sauce recipe, how many people have bought red curry paste in the past? Anyone bought red curry paste? Okay, let me introduce you to red curry paste. It is a Thai curry paste. You can buy it at King Soopers, and a little bit goes a long way. You don't need much. The good thing is the contents of the can are freezable, so just use a couple of teaspoons and put the rest in your freezer. So when you make this particular recipe, once you've done the shallots, the garlic and the ginger, add in a teaspoon of the red curry paste. It gives it a lot of flavor. It'll bring it more into a Thai flavor rather than an Indonesian or Malaysian flavor. So it gives it a real kick. It is a little bit spicy, but it really gives the recipe a density to it, which is just delicious. The other thing that you can do is we make a red curry peanut sauce that we use on chicken that we roast in the oven. So if you've got some chicken pieces on the breast, I usually buy it on the bone because it has a lot more flavor. Roasting that in the oven and then having the sauce, either putting the chicken into the sauce or putting the sauce onto the chicken. But it is delicious. It's been great to see some of my wonderful patients here and people who are being treated in the cancer center. It's great to have this service on campus. So if you're interested, stay tuned. I believe that we will have some more coming, and hopefully we'll be offering some tasty food. I'm all about food having a lot of flavor, and I know with my patients that a flavor profile is really important. So thank you for coming and enjoy the food.